what effect will this have on consumers in the long run? I mean, it's not coming in for 10 years yet, but what effect will it have?
Well, of course, it has to be ratified by the Council of Ministers at the highest level in Europe. And what that means is that nations like France, Germany, Spain have to agree to this, and they're not too happy about the announcements today either. Egg producers here say that prices will go up, that the number of eggs in production might fall, and therefore prices might rise about 10%. But campaigners who've really campaigned over the past 30 years for this say that that's a smokescreen. Actually, at the moment, it's only 1.5 pence extra to create a free-range egg compared to a battery egg, and that means about £2 extra a year per head if you're buying eggs on a regular basis. But of course, you and I might think that doesn't tally with what we pay in the supermarket now, about 90 pence for half a dozen eggs. They say that's because the supermarkets are cashing in on our desire to buy free-range eggs.
Denise Mahoney, thank you very much.
NATO has warned the warring parties in Kosovo that they must start negotiating a peace settlement or face military action. Secretary-General Javier Solana said that NATO was ready to act against both Serbia and ethnic Albanian separatists if the conflict went on. A new political initiative is due to be launched in London tomorrow.
As the world launches another peace plan, in Kosovo today they carried on preparing for more fighting. Previous threats of airstrikes only produced a brief pause in the conflict. Now the international community is trying again. The difference this time, they say, is that NATO's threats are firmly linked to an international political initiative requiring both sides to start early negotiations.
I'd like to say that it will be fully backed by NATO's military capabilities. We are ready to act if necessary. The parties must seize this opportunity.
The plan's being backed by the UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan. He and other political leaders now accept previous initiatives failed because international efforts for a long-term peace deal weren't sustained by combined military and political pressure.
If it becomes necessary to use that force, that just says something else that we need to look at. But the threat is essential, and it is there.
NATO will at the weekend further step up military preparations to help pressurize the warring factions into accepting international plans that would lead to autonomy in Kosovo. What's wanted is a similar peace deal to that in Bosnia, which makes it increasingly likely any settlement to succeed will have to be enforced by NATO ground troops in Kosovo. Mark Leahy, BBC News.
The first electronically tagged prisoners were released early from jails across the country today. Each will have a tag attached to their wrist or ankle so their movements can be monitored. If the scheme proves successful, it will allow 30,000 prisoners to be released early every year.
Simon Hart left Highdown Prison in Surrey today after 5.5 months of his sentence. Agreeing to wear an electronic tag means he'll be at home 2 months earlier than expected.
60 days at home, 60 days in family is better than being 60 days in prison. Anything's better than being in prison. 60 days is better than anything.
The tag, usually fitted around the ankle, will enforce a home curfew of up to 12 hours a day. Any violation will be detected at a monitoring centre. This is Groningen Jail in Northern Holland. An early release scheme has been running since 1995. But every prisoner selected for electronic monitoring also follows an intensive programme supervised by probation officers. In 3.5 years, only 2 offenders freed early from these cells have been rearrested while under curfew. But it's crucial to remember that the numbers being tagged here are tiny in comparison with the programme just starting in England and Wales.
You take the risk of having people put on a programme without actually doing some sort of reintegration. You might have the risk of a lot of people reoffending actually before the end of the programme or shortly afterwards.
Up to 30,000 prisoners a year in England and Wales are likely to be freed early if the curfew programme is a success. The key will be making sure that the risk to the public is kept to a minimum. John Silverman, BBC News.
Northern Ireland is in the grip of rugby fever. This weekend, Ulster's in the final of the European Cup against the French team, Colomiers. Ulster are the surprise finalists, having beaten off stiff competition from teams in Wales, Scotland and France. Rugby in Northern Ireland has traditionally been seen as a Protestant game, but as our correspondent Tom Coulter has been finding out, attitudes are changing.
Good. That's much better. Much better there.
Schoolboys at a rugby training session. Nothing unusual about that, but this is a Catholic school, and these boys have just taken up the game. Normally sadly the domain of Protestant schools in Northern Ireland. Rugby fever has gripped the province, crossing all religious and sectarian divides.
Sport is not anything to do with politics, and I'm sure other people will have the same way for Gaelic itself. It's a sport, it's not anything to do with politics, and hopefully that'll be a starting ground where we'll all come together.
I think everybody should be very proud of them. They've come a long way. A lot of training and effort probably going into it, and it should be acknowledged by everyone.
But it's very fast and quick. There's a lot of excitement. And, everybody on the team has a lot of participation, and especially with a lot of Catholic schools now. People seem to think it's a lot like Gaelic, very fast and fluent.
This has been a fairy tale season for the Ulster side. Regarded as no hopers when the European Championship began, teamwork and moments of magic like this from skipper David Humphreys has seen them beat two of the best teams in the tournament to reach Saturday's final. The Ulster public have queued in all sorts of weather for match tickets. The Ulster branch could have sold their 30,000 allocation twice over. They play French side Colomiers in the final. Like Ulster, they are not a star-studded team and have beaten the odds to reach the showpiece of European club rugby.
Colomiers play Ulster, Colomiers champion.
The hopes of rugby fans throughout Ulster rest with this tightly knit group of players. The mass exodus of fans travelling to the match will begin tomorrow. The Ulster squad will now be closeted away from their fans and the media as they focus on winning Saturday's final. If they do, they will become part of rugby legend, and so too will the celebration party that could go on for days. Tom Coulter, BBC News, Belfast.
It's taken a long time, but Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles are expected to appear together in public for the first time this evening. They've both been invited to a birthday party for Mrs. Parker Bowles' sister at the Ritz Hotel in London, which is thought they'll leave together. Our royal correspondent Jenny Bond is at the Ritz. Jenny, is it going to happen?
Well, I think it'd be extraordinary if it didn't happen now. We've got the world media here, probably 100 ladders, 100 photographers all waiting. The first was in place at 10 o'clock yesterday morning. I think it would be very hard to row back now, and certainly the palace are giving us no reason to think that this won't happen. They're saying that it would be entirely natural for them to leave a private party like this together. It would be abnormal, really, for them not to.
They've been very careful, haven't they, not to be seen in public together so far.
They've been very sensitive to public opinion, obviously particularly since the death of the Princess of Wales. But this is a very long-standing relationship. It goes right back to the 70s, and some of the very rare pictures we have, one of them standing by a tree together taken in 1975, show that it's gone back such a long way. But they are together a great deal, in fact. They have quite a normal life. Drove back from Scotland not long ago together, stopped off at some service stations, but they're very careful not to be seen by photographers. Opportunities have presented themselves. For example, the birthday party of Camilla, her 50th birthday party at Highgrove. She made a grand entrance, but there was no sign of Prince Charles. And then a little later, we had the wedding of one of their great friends, Sandra Palmer Tompkinson. They arrived together, but left very pointedly. They arrived separately and left separately. Very choreographed performance again. And after that, people said, well, it's a bit ridiculous they couldn't be seen together. Again, there was Prince Charles' 50th birthday, and Camilla Parker Bowles came in, quite a grand entrance in the car, but they did not take the opportunity. Tonight, we think they might.
Do you know why they've chosen tonight for the night they'll appear in public together?
Well, I think what they feel is that perhaps it is the right place and the right occasion. This is a family party for Camilla's sister. It is Camilla, if you like, at her own do, and Prince Charles entering her life rather than the other way round. So they think it's the right time. They also feel that they don't want to give the paparazzi the opportunity to make £2 million by snatching a photograph of them when they haven't arranged it.
Yvonne, thank you very much.
5 orphan seal pups have been returned to the sea off the Pembrokeshire coast today, wearing bright yellow swimming caps. The numbered hats have been glued to their skins by the RSPCA. It's part of a scheme to track the pups' progress in the wild.
This was their big day.